Hi everyone, welcome back to the Airing Austin YouTube channel. My name's Austin, and today we're going to be talking about my top 10 favorite films of 2022. Guys, 2023 is literally a day away. That's insane to think about. I don't think I'm ready. 2022 was such a fun year. It was a year of, honestly, recovery for me personally. I got into a lot of new things on my YouTube channel, movie reviews, TV show reviews. It's just been a whole gambit of things, doing gaming videos. It all started back with Pokemon Legends. I still don't know how to say it. Arceus. One of those two. One of those works. But yeah, I'm really excited to end off the year just talking about my favorite movies. And this video is going to hit a little bit different because I'm not going to be doing any editing whatsoever. I'm just going to jump into this and talk about my top 10 favorite films. It's going to be as simple as that. So a little anxiety inducing for me. So I'm really sorry if I mess up a lot. Just go with it. It's going to be a fun time, I hope. And let me guys know what you think of my list. I think it's pretty good. I think it's a solid list. But I think that number two, I really want number two to win, like, best movie of the year, basically. I think that it deserves it. Not necessarily number one, not necessarily my number one. So stay tuned to find out why I think that. But yeah, let's start off this list with number 10. That is The Black Phone. Why do I like that movie? Well, it really kicked off my whole movie review fiasco with YouTube. I went and I saw it. I was just having a miserable time. And this movie brought me out of a major funk. It was so simple at its core. It was a basic kidnapping story with a little hint of supernatural elements added in. And it really made for a great, excellent movie. The writing was clean. The acting was amazing. The technical aspects, such as the color grading, I thought that was really beautiful to look at. It was dreary. It was fun. It really reminded me of It from 2017. But in a very different fashion, in a really interesting, fun way that it made sense on why this story was being told. It's like, well, why didn't we tell the story of like any of these other characters, like previous to the one that we're following? And it's like, okay, this makes sense. This is why we're following this guy, this kid, and this is what he went through. And overall, the story from start to finish, the characters were really cool, and also I think that the actress of the sister character, she actually liked my tweet about the movie back when I actually like made a Twitter. So that was something cool. That was interesting. Black Phone, number 10, my spot. It was a really good time. As for number 9, this one is interesting. I didn't actually think this would actually make my list at all when I was watching the film, because it thoroughly just confused me. I was perplexed by the entire movie. The pacing threw me off, but it was all in a good way. I love when movies confuse me. And that movie, number 9, that would be Tar. I loved Tar so much. Not necessarily after I left the theater, not even necessarily after a week of even thinking about it. This movie just kind of creeped up on me over time, and I just couldn't help but appreciate the acting in this film. I know nothing about music, and I could follow this movie and still be confused at times about music and the elements of music and just how this movie portrays music and all the technical details behind the lead character and what really makes her life interesting and why it makes her life interesting. I didn't really understand it at first, but as I continuously think about this movie, Tar, it's just, it's perplexing overall. That's really all I can say. It was really well shot, and I think that the open-endedness of the film overall, I think that's what really highlights this movie a lot. It really lets you cap off the movie with what you think happened and where the character ends up and how they got there. It was just a really fun time. I enjoyed watching the movie, and I think it deserves to be watched, as I don't think a lot of people actually went out to go see the movie. Just like The Black Phone, I think both those movies deserved a lot more screen time. A lot more people should have went to go see them. But nonetheless, Tar is number 9. Number 8, that would be Avatar: The Way of Water. I kid you not when I say I had no expectations for this film. I didn't remember what happened in the first movie. In fact, I had to go back and watch the first movie again. And yeah, it was basically what I thought it was. It was Pocahontas in space. And it was silly. Unobtainium, what a silly name. There's so much just silliness. But what I really enjoy about the Avatar movies, including this one, is the world building behind it. That's one of my favorite elements of filmmaking. It's why I love shows such as Game of Thrones, Avatar: The Last Airbender, those kinds of shows. The world is built and the story just kind of melds together based on the world. The world just builds it, basically. The world builds and creates these stories into believable, simple structures. And speaking of simple again, Avatar: The Way of Water, much like its predecessor, it's very simple in terms of storytelling. I enjoyed following it. Basically, the main character had kids, and we're following their story now. How interesting. But yeah, no, it was actually interesting. Not gonna lie. It was fun watching it. I think the movie was a little bit self-indulgent at times, but other than that, it was a technical marvel. There were some scenes where I couldn't realize it was CGI. And yeah, I felt that way about the first Avatar at the time. And over time, I kind of started to see where the CGI was, et cetera, et cetera. But with this one, I thoroughly inspected. I was looking for it. I was absolutely looking for it. There was maybe one or two scenes where I'm like, oh, that was a weird choice. But other than that, it was a technical marvel. And I think that's the best way to describe Avatar: The Way of Water, being number 8 on my list. Yeah, that's really all I can say about the movie. It was amazing. I enjoyed it. A little self-indulgent, a little bit too long for my liking, but overall, it was a great movie. That being said, number 7 on my list. I thought this one would actually be a little bit higher, but it's actually The Batman. I really loved this movie. The Batman had so many feels to it that other Batman movies just don't really portray. Gotham, like everyone says online, it feels like its own character. Gotham is such a great sense of world building, how I mentioned earlier, and everything that gets structured within the world of this movie featuring Robert Pattinson. It just flows because it's believable. This city makes you believe that these characters in this city can actually exist and pull off what is happening. But I think, honestly, the biggest thing about this movie for me was that of Robert Pattinson's portrayal of Batman. It was interesting. And what I mean by that is I wasn't expecting a Batman to be like this, to be emo, I guess would be the most simplistic word to use. But I didn't hate it. He was a very emo-esque, broody detective. And it really brought back that detective aspect of Batman that I've really been missing in the latest DC films. He's just been smart to be smart. And in these movies, you kind of understand, yeah, he's smart because he has to be smart, and in these smart scenes, they actually make sense with who Bruce Wayne is. The only con I'd have to say about the film is Bruce Wayne is Batman, in both as Bruce Wayne and Batman. There's no middle ground, there's no characters colliding, and I know people have their reasoning for why that is. But overall, just having a first impression of the film, having only seen the film the one time, and again, a very long run time for this movie as well, I just don't think it really fits, a first viewing aspect. Like, you just don't really appreciate it. A movie that you have to watch multiple times, yeah, you can appreciate aspects of that, but for the normal movie watcher, I just don't think it's that well portrayed. I think that they really should have done a Batman that had his own personality and a Bruce Wayne that had his own personality, and then kind of meet in the middle where it's like, okay, they are the same person at some point, But overall, they were just the same person, and that's my only gripe with the movie. Otherwise, I love everything about it. The color correction, the color grading, I should say the color grading. Sorry. The world building, Gotham being its own character, the texture that you see on screen. I love that second to world building. Just seeing these textures that feel so raw and realistic. It brings you back to that less digital feel of filmmaking, and it's like, okay, that piece of cloth right there, like the Batman that's wearing that metallic plate or whatever, like that feels realistic. I feel like I can reach out and I can touch that, and I love how they portrayed the Batman in this movie. It was a great movie, and I think that should be seen. If you're a DC fan and you haven't been enjoying any of the latest DC universe movies, I think Robert Pattinson's The Batman is a must-see. So that's number 7. Number 6, this one was actually surprising because I hated Knives Out. And if you guys can't tell, number 6 is actually Glass Onion. This movie, again, simple, actually probably way too simple, but at its core, it was fun. It was goofy, it was cheesy. The writing was absolutely off the wall, it was silly. But there was just something about the movie that I found really endearing. Not only was it some of the acting and some of the touch points on what the world's currently enduring, but how this world that it's in kind of deals with that situation and applies it to a murder mystery party on an island. That was such an interesting concept to me. And the fact that it kind of installs its own theme from a Knives Out, I didn't really understand that from a Knives Out. I didn't know what it was doing. But watching A Glass Onion, it makes you realize, okay, so it's kind of making its own structure of filmmaking that I think future filmmakers can take away from the series, a Knives Out series, and apply it to their own films. So I think what it's doing is it's making a brand, like a new concept in filmmaking that I think we're going to see for many years to come. And that's why I love Glass Onion as much as I do. Number 5, that would be Nope. I really liked Nope. It was a great movie, and I wasn't expecting it to be because the last movie the director made, I didn't care for it. His first movie, yes, Get Out, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot, but the next movie, I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it either. It was just kind of like it existed, an existing movie, sure, but Nope. I went into it with low expectations, and it's number 5 on my list. It's one of the first movies this year where I left the theater going, yes, like I really enjoyed how it ended, where the characters landed, and the overall storytelling and the way that the characters interacted together on screen. That was fun. Overall, Nope was just a really good time. I think the directing obviously was really good, and we got an Alien movie, an Alien kind of almost not Wild West but Western themed movie, and we don't see a lot of that these days. When was the last time we got like a good old fashioned normal Alien movie, right? I mean, I don't think we have in a very long time, and not one that's this good with the twist that it has too. I thought that was really cool. The UFO, I won't spoil anything, but there's a UFO in the movie, and the aliens involved are just fun. It's visually interesting. The world building's great, and again, these movies all come down to a sort of simplicity in its storytelling. Like, oh, the movie, I saw an alien. That's the plot of the movie. I saw an alien, and what happens next is the overall plot. Number 4. This is actually a movie that I just saw. I literally just saw this movie earlier today. That's because I could never find tickets for this movie. And no, it's not the movie you're probably thinking of if you've seen my short. But this movie is The Banshees of Inisherin. I'm not sure. It's basically a town somewhere located in Ireland. That's the name of it. And so The Banshees of Inisherin, it was beautiful. I mentioned color grading a lot, but I think that this movie really takes the cake. As someone who's been to Ireland for about a week of his time and fell in love with the countrysides, the cities, and just the gloominess of the sky, but like the bright greenness of the just the ground, the grass, the lands, the fields, and the beautiful waters with the cliff sides and all of that. I just really found a lot of beauty in this film. Not only that, but this film was also directed by the person who made 3 Billboards in Ebbing, Missouri, which was one of my favorite films of 2017. The director really takes a lot of those filmmaking aspects from that movie and applies it here. I do think 3 Billboards honestly surpasses this movie. But what this movie does differently is it tells even like I said before, an even more simple story. It's basically about 2 grown men, and one of them doesn't want to be friends with the other anymore, and it gets a little drastic. And the time period it's sent in during the Irish Civil War, and I think 1923. It's just really interesting. Like I said before, world building, just having all that cultural knowledge. And I looked up information about it when I got home. I was super invested in learning about that time period. The acting, again, phenomenal, really good acting. And by the end of things, this also had a kind of open-ended filmmaking situation to it where it's like, okay, I don't know where the characters go after this. But that's okay, because watching the characters go from point A to point B, I can kind of tell what they want to do. And so being so open-ended really gives you this feeling of just interest in the world and these characters. It's a character study movie that really focuses down on, like, you really want to wonder, why does this character not want to be friends with this character anymore, the lead character? And so this whole time you're just thinking, like, okay, what's going on? What's the issue here? But basically, I don't know if I should spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it here. But if you watch the movie, you get answers, and you also don't get answers at the same time. But that's really all I can say about the Banshees of Inisherin. As for number 3, this one was amazing. Top Gun Maverick. It did something that Star Wars couldn't. It revived a franchise, a long time franchise, and it flew. It was amazing. It passed with flying colors, in my opinion. It was the pinnacle of storytelling. And I know a lot of people are looking at this movie and they're like, oh, it's just a Star Wars movie because it copies out of A New Hope or something like that. I've seen lots of comparisons online. But Top Gun Maverick really, again, takes that amazing world building, these established characters, and puts them into a more simple story, a nuanced story, a believable story. It doesn't feel like, oh, you made a story and now you're just doing something based off that again. It feels like this movie is an original film that stands really well on its own, but also makes the first movie that much better. But yeah, Top Gun Maverick, Tom Cruise did an amazing job. And Tom Cruise, he's such a weird guy, but on screen, I just love the dude and the characters he portrays. So Top Gun Maverick, just an exciting, fun, action-packed movie. And the aerial shots alone, that was amazing. And I wish I could see more. I hope that they do something else with this universe and that they make it just as good. So as for number 2, this is kind of where it gets weird, because I think that number 2 should honestly win Best Picture of 2022. And I also believe it goes to, or it should be going to the Best Actor as well, because The Whale, which is number 2, stars Brendan Fraser. Is it Fraser or Fraser? I've been told it's Fraser and Fraser, so I'm not sure. I'm just going to say Fraser. Brendan Fraser, he does something you don't see that often in movies. He pulls off the biggest acting moment, I believe, of his entire career. He pulls off some acting that you don't see ever. If you do, it's rare. And if I've seen it, I don't think I can recall anything that comes close to this or tops it. I think that what Brendan Fraser's doing here is so deeply personal and connected to his emotions and his feelings of how he feels. And he did not phone it in here. He stepped up to the plate, and my God, I've missed him so much on the screen. The story here, again, at its core, simple. It's fun. I can't really talk about it other than the fact that he's a man who is morbidly obese. He's basically dying, and he's just trying to find out what he needs to do for himself, for his family, and I guess in a sense his friends. But if you watch the film, it's a little bit questionable at that point. But The Whale, I think it deserves so much, because on every technical aspect, it's amazing. I mean, it's not, like a Marvel movie with explosions or lots of special effects. This movie was based on a play, and you can tell the acting alone just carries the movie. And I think everyone needs to go see The Whale. It's rated R, and it opens in a super weird way, but just getting past that, you guys are going to love that movie. Okay, and lastly, my number one spot. This is a movie that has just grabbed its place into my heart. It's clutching on, and I don't think it's ever going to let go. That movie is Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. And this is the movie that kind of really kicked off that whole simplicity feeling for me in filmmaking this year, because at its core, this movie is just a mother-daughter bonding story, and that's it. But it has that wackiness, that amazing humor that doesn't really overshadow the dark or serious moments, and I love it for that. It does a lot. This movie does a lot at the same time, but also does a little, and it doesn't contradict itself at all. They pulled off a balancing act, and that's hard to do. That's really hard to do. Not to mention the actors in this film also did a really great job. I feel like A24 said, 2022, that's my year. Sorry, everyone else, just step back. They released a lot of movies this year, A24, but Everything, Everywhere, All at Once has to be my favorite film, both on a technical level, on just the writing alone, the way it uses foreshadowing, everything, the world building, it all just makes sense. Everything about this film is coherent. It's a fun watch. I mean, not only that, not only is it a good movie, but it's a movie that's just, it's fun. It's something that you want to go back to and watch over and over again. And you don't have to watch it over and over again to understand it. But after each time, I'm sure that you can pick up something new that you didn't find the first time you watched it. And it's honestly the first movie of this year that made me cry. I was very emotional at the end of this movie. And even during a scene that was supposed to be funny, that involves googly eyes and rocks, it was endearing. It was everything I really want in a movie. And I think this movie is also one that needs to be seen way more. I hope to see more from the filmmakers behind this film. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Yeah, it takes number one for me. So yeah, that's my top 10 movies of 2022. It's been an interesting year. There's been lots of duds. But I really want to end off the year in a positive way, where I just get to talk about my favorite films in a really short, I hate to say this again, simplistic way, and just throw it out there on YouTube and see what everyone else feels. Do you guys like my list? Do you guys like any of the movies? Do you guys dislike any of the movies on my list? If you guys dislike them, I'm really interested to see or hear why. So yeah, do you guys have a top 10 favorite, top 5 favorite, maybe even just a favorite movie from this year? I'm interested in knowing more about that. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. And with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching this video, this top 10 video. It's the first time I'm doing this, an unedited video too. So my anxiety is kind of like skyrocketing. I'm getting really hot right now. So hopefully that these come better over time. just because editing, it does take a long time, and working a full-time job, and also just, you know, having my personal life to go through. Editing, it takes up so much time. So I thought, hey, why not try to take a swing at it, especially since New Year's is tomorrow. It's the new year, and I want to get this out there. I want to talk about my favorite movies, and I want to get that discussion of, you know, filmmaking out there as well. As a filmmaker, as someone who went to school for video production, filmmaking is always going to be beautiful to me. And I hope to continue making videos about movies on my channel in the future. And who knows, maybe one day I'll make it onto someone's top 10 movies list as well. That's the dream, that's the goal. But for now, my name's Austin. You're watching the Airing Austin YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys being here, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.